Hey, happy holidays, everybody. Um, I thought I'd pop in, uh, after Christmas. I wanted to do this actually before like Christmas Eve, but that didn't happen. Um, let's see. Yeah, that didn't happen, which is fine. We have a pretty laid back uh, Christmas. Didn't do too much, which was good. It's actually pretty nice. I liked it. So Shayla and I had a great time. We ended up watching a bunch of shows, catching up on a few things. But anyway, I hope everybody else's holiday was cool and um, you know getting through it. It's been quite the year. So I am here essentially. Okay, well, hold on a second. I have to start this other part of it. Let's see. Um, because I'm on Instagram at the same time. Okay. So this one should be on. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. Cool. 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 So we got the IG one going on right now. There's supposed to be one on the Studio Skye-Tiger Instagram. Uh, Let me double check and see if that one's also live at the same time. And we'll get into it because a lot has gone on this year. There's a lot to say. And while we're all kind of really winding down our 2025, essentially just giving credit where credit's due. A good look back and seeing, I don't know, just being grateful, for the most part, for all that has been done so far. So yeah, I guess this isn't. It says it's supposed to be on Studio Skye-Tiger right now, but doesn't look like it is. Uh, we'll worry about that later. Anyway, um, yeah, this was totally impromptu, everybody. So, but I'm glad that we're here. So, really, what I wanted to say, we had quite a year this year. I didn't actually do. I posted my RV artist thing, uh, and like I said, there was. I did a lot of work for the company, like building everything with that. But I didn't do a lot of actual drawing. Actually, Um, I did a lot of uh, project management. I did a lot of spearheading, art directing, making connections. Kind of promoting the brand. Putting it out there and making sure a lot of the people in the studio got work. Also, I think this was also the year that I started doing uh, what is it? Not Instagram. I mean, well, the live stuff. So we launched our podcast. The Studio Skye-Tiger Comics podcast, which is super cool. Um, and honestly, like that's fantastic. Like I've been putting it off and putting it off for too long, and now I finally got a chance to do it, and it's getting easier for sure. Hey Dan, how you doing? Okay, so the cool thing is, so I'm kind of volleying through with all the social medias that are up right now because I'm streaming all the ones that I have at the same time. So this is going to be a task. So you guys are please be patient with me with this, so I can get through it. So this year, we ended up at Studio Skye-Tiger Comics. Like I went from Studio Skye-Tiger LLC to Studio Skye-Tiger Comics because we're doing our own comics and we're actually going to produce a lot of that stuff ourselves. But the iteration that I had or we started with in the beginning is not the iteration that we're actually finishing with. We are changing things up towards the end of all this, which is now we're going to essentially focus on two sides of the coin. Like thanks to DC, we got our name in the DC book, which I think was the end of last year or the beginning of this year, which was great. And then we popped on League of Comics Geeks, and that also continued. So the Studio Skye-Tiger name as a production company is definitely like locked in, but we haven't been updated to Studio Skye-Tiger Comics yet, which makes sense because our first book, which is the new Midnight Tiger Evo series, the #1 or / at this point chapter 1, hasn't been released yet, and we're currently working on that and getting that out. We've actually expanded that book, and it will be a collector's item. And you heard that right, it's a collector's item because here's the news. If you didn't see the update, if you weren't on the Kickstarter and got the Kickstarter update, we are going to be doing black and white comics in digest form and 208 pages. So Studio Skye-Tiger Comics is now basically going to be doing anthologies and collections at this point for the foreseeable future. If we expand, that's great, but we're going to be doing, like I said, 208 page anthologies. The first anthology and our main anthology will be Studio Skye-Tiger Presents. And in the same inspired way as shown in Weekly Jump or whatever, although we're not doing that production level, that's insane for us, especially us Americans. We're going to be doing, main story. So like Midnight Tiger will continue in Studio Skye-Tiger Presents as a regular series in that anthology. The same with Marcus D. Newsom's Lightning Strike, and the same with Jamal Anansi and Lucas Kloebel's Ebony and the Hall of Dragons. So those are our mainstays. In addition to those, we're going to have, mini-series, some connected, some not connected to the Midnight Tiger universe, which is, A Rise to Ruin, which we've been working on, and Cornerman, Chris Robinson is going to be part of that. We have to find an artist for that, but that's the whole thing that we're doing there. In addition to the icons, and that script that Erica Schultz has written is all for the first issue, first 20 pages, is still in. So each of these stories for the anthology. So like our mainstays, we're going to be like anywhere between 15 and 25 pages, much like Shonen Jump is. So they're issues or chapters or however you want to break it down. That's what they are. And what else do we have? We have some other things coming in from my class, my comic storytelling class. Which is fantastic. I love those students are really, really great. And it is the final and only class I'll be doing for the foreseeable future, which is bittersweet because I particularly enjoy teaching and I have a great class and some great students, but I can't do that and maintain my own regular series comic, which has been Midnight Tiger Evo, and run this company. I can't do all those things. I wish I could. If I could clone myself, I would. But it is what it is. So January is actually our last couple of classes, and my students have projects that they are, they have a final project, and some of them will be able to be premiered in the Studio Skye-Tiger Presents anthology. It's by committee, on my right hand, TJ Bell's it's got to go through TJ Bell. It's got to go through me. Like we all have to approve anything that's been submitted for that by the students. So we're looking forward to that. We're looking forward to see who's going to be in the book. It's probably going to be about 10 stories, I think. Something about, So we're looking to get that going. But I just want to shout out that all the students who I have a connection with every student, which is the reason why they're in the class in the first place. So, um, you know, they come from different backgrounds, different walks of life, have different skills, have different styles. But no, it's been a pleasure, truly, and hopefully I've given them the tools that will help them kind of like a launch pad. I mean, I in my mind, in my my thought process, I'm trying to create comic book creators, not comic book artists, comic book storytellers, or any type of visual storytelling, because some of them actually want to go into animation. So, hopefully I provided the tools to do that kind of stuff. Um, what else I'm trying to say today? So the other part about that, let's moving forward, is the people we have. That's our main core people in our studio. And at this point, we have a couple of projects that some of the creators in our studio are actually being they're working on right now, which is fantastic. So that's the other part of the studio that we're keeping. The big change is that unfortunately we have less people in the studio now, but it's a good thing because it got too large, and not everybody was ready. Not everybody was ready to do this job. This is not an easy job. It's a beautiful job. It's a fun job. It's a job that can reach millions of people, but it's not easy. And you got to be mentally prepared for a job like this. Your lifestyle and your day to day needs to be set up for success for this. Um, and that's really kind of the thing that you got to think about when you want to do this job. It's okay. You can still do this job as a hobby. You can do this job on your own time. But no, I think for the most part, this is something that you got to carve out time for, truly. And, it's one thing to have passion for it, but if your life and lifestyle isn't set up to succeed in this arena and produce work, it's going to be disappointing. It really is. So, what I'm looking for, well, actually, I'm not looking for anybody at this point. Like, we're not going to be adding people to our studio. We're going to be executing. We spent 2025 laying the groundwork, and all we're doing now is executing. I was just telling my wife Shayla, like, I spent 2025 doing 70% building the company and setting that up, and 30% drawing. It's going to flip for 2026 because there's projects that we got going on. We have things that are in the works right now. Things in association with other companies, and stuff that's all us, all of our stuff. So, like I said, about the anthology, and we're trying to do that quarterly. So, but this will probably miss Q1 in March, and we'll probably release our first anthology in June, probably. So, what else are we doing there? So yeah, so we're probably going to do the first anthology in June, the second one in August, and then we have a mature readers anthology called Regulus for stuff that's a bit edgier, and that'll be our end of the year / Halloween, kind of fair. So, but yeah, so we're looking forward to all those things, and we're keeping it tight because color is great. We'd love to have that, but here's the thing: we're selling stories, And if you know, are liking the characters, we're going to have beautiful colored covers for all of our books. That's not a problem. But, you know, we're trying to have our characters and our worlds and all these things be a regular part of your reading experience. Truly. Like that's what we're trying to go for. You know, I'm very thankful that Midnight Tiger has a following. So that's a plus. And we're going to grow that following. But other characters like Marcus's Lightning Strike, we're going to establish a greater fan base there. Where you know the goal is to put Jamal Anansi, who's a fantastic writer and creator. You know, we're gonna make sure the world knows about him because he's fantastic. You know, and all the creations that we're all working on. You know, it was sad that we ended up pulling back on what is that? Sincere American Nightmare. But the restructuring was inevitable and things worked out the way they were supposed to work out. So, you know, I think we're all happy about that because that book is actually going to be a part of the anthology. So it's going to come out. And odds are, you know, and that's the other part. The book will also be available as a single issue, especially that book, because it's, you know, something for Compton. And so we want to make that available separately. So that's on the way. But so like the plan is for, you know, the other part, the biggest part of it is that we're now currently building the Studio Skye-Tiger.com website. And we are now digital first. That's the other thing. I should have led with that. So we are also going to go into 2026 being a digital first company as far as comics are concerned. So you will be available to read all of our books at a slower pace, though, as a webcomic, as a free webcomic. And then you'll be able to buy the collected edition so you can actually own it and have it in addition to any merchandise that we do and stuff like that. But again, like our goal is to create a nice fan base, a brand, you know, and I think that going digital first, that's the way to go. I think what am I? We're at about 18 minutes, so I'm not going to stay too long. But I just want to thank everybody, you know, who's helped us really do this, and really like it was tough transitioning from being just an artist. You know, the artist people know as Ray Anthony Height. You know what I mean? Like people were like, "Are you really doing this? Are you really like?" You know, trying to do the company thing. I mean, you know, yes, it's crazy. But it's something I believe in. And it's a platform for other creators to tell their stories. It's also a platform for, you know, wonderful creators like, you know, TJ Bell, who is working on a project and kind of launching their career. And Elisa Del Castillo is going to be doing some inks on a big project that we have coming out in 2026 with another company. I've taken over that project. So technically, I know I tell people this all the time, don't do two books at the same time. But I will essentially be doing two books at the same time. The great thing is that one of the books is at a super slow pace after the first issue comes out. And that's Midnight Tiger Evo, which will be, you know, like I said, a weekly webcomic. You know, like the rest of them will be like 2 pages a week. And that will start back up on the main site next week as we build StudioSkye-Tiger.com, and all of our books will be there. And that we're planning a launch for that one March 1st, I believe. So, you know, look out for that. Make sure you subscribe to it, get the newsletter, be aware of all that's going on there. But yeah, like we're expanding, and that means that you'll see the Studio Skye-Tiger name on a bunch of books that are either books that we help produce or our own books. But that's the goal. That's the plan. for 2026 is all about executing everything that's been laid out through 2025. Um, let me check. I'm going to check Facebook to see if anybody else mentioned anything. I don't see any comments on this at all. Uh, yeah, I don't see any comments at all so far, which is good. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I may keep this going. I was like, so, having a minor little anxiety thing um, as I got on, because I just have to get used to it. I got to get used to doing this on a regular basis. I got to get used to doing the what do you call it? The live stream. I like that better. Oh, and big shout out to Jamar Nicholas and the Pistol to Pencil crew, Mike Manley, Steve Conley. You guys inspire me to do this kind of stuff because I love your format. It's not this whole thing where you're like recording and then editing and stuff like that. It's just me and you guys speaking directly. Paige, how you doing? All right, so we got some, yeah, we got some people popping in. So, but yeah, like I'm talking about shout outs. I'm definitely shouting out, you know, that crew, the Pencil to Pencil crew. I love what you guys do. I don't have the same flair as Mr. Nicholas does, but I got my own thing. I got my own personality on this thing, and when I get going, it's a bit better. Like I like to have people on the show for myself because I can vibe off of them and listen to what they got going on and stuff like that, and we can have a nice back and forth. I love a good conversation. That's what that show was always great. Shout out to Mr. Ernie Carruthers, Blur Without Fear. Another inspiration, and just love Ernie. Just wonderful, just funny, just cool guy. But I cannot leave this without giving a huge shout out to the Black Comic Lords for everything that they do, what they stand for making a platform so large that people of color always have a place to go to. And if you are, if you're coming correct as a creator and you have quality stuff and you have passion, and you are a proponent of representation, especially, in Black comics, it's a great spot, great people. Shout out to the entire crew of Black Comic Lords. But yeah, I'm just, as the founder of Studio Skye-Tiger Comics, I'm just trying to carve out my little piece, man. Like, I'm not trying to be anybody's competition or whatever it is. What I'm trying to do, I was telling my wife earlier, like, there's 7 to 8 billion people on this planet. I just need a solid 100,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I get that solid 100,000, I'm good. So, for the people that's already there, I think I'm probably got, maybe a good 500 people, like, to show up for me and my company and the people that's in it, but let's build that. This word of mouth is great. And when these books start coming out, and they're great books. I mean, we try to do books that we want to see, and instead of doing things that we think are going to make money or some kind of a trend or whatever, it's things that speak to us and our experiences, the things we love. That's what we're trying to do here. I mean, I goes from WTF Mama, which, Paul, Black Comic Lords, loves. A bunch of other people love it. It sells really well at shows. Midnight Tiger, which people love. Like, you have a good book when the book sells and you're not even at your table. So I think that we have something there. I know that what Marcus and Jamal are bringing has the same situation. Like, those guys are great, and I'm glad to have them at my side. I'm so happy that I've got TJ running the ship and being, the person. If I'm not available, I can trust 1,000% to handle the business. of dealing with questions and all that kind of stuff. So it's a great partnership, and it's, I don't know, it's, I'm just blessed. I don't usually use that term a lot, but I feel it. Um, and I know that I'm in a situation with the status as someone who's been in the business 20 years now, and as a known quantity. I do understand that, but you know, this is a new era. This is me at the birth of this new company, of this new brand, and really promoting the hell out of these characters. It would be nice for characters like Midnight Tiger and his crew and everybody that's there to be said in the same breath as a Miles Morales, as a Virgil Hawkins, Static, um, whoever, like or an Invincible. You know what I mean? Like these are characters that people have resonated with, who keep coming back. Shout out to the young lady who I was at Compton High School, me, Marcus, and Jamal, and we gave out books. We gave out our comics, and somebody had gotten. I brought a couple of the hardcovers, and we gave out as a raffle. Shout out to Compton High School, by the way, on my alma mater. Love you guys. We're gonna create a whole bunch of new comic book creators once we're done in 2026, because we're doing some classes over there, so that's great. But she'd gotten the book during our presentation, and as it ended and we walked around and we were being introduced to other people, other teachers at the class, she ran up to me and say, "How could you do this? If you know, you know. If you've read the Midnight Tiger, hardcover, you know." And she hadn't even gotten through. She's like, "How could you do X?" And I just laughed. I was like, and I turned to Marcus and Jamal and said, "And that's the power of storytelling. That's how you know you have a good product." I was both, we call it cracking and facking. Like, it's a joke, but it's true. And it's like, that makes you feel good that the work that you have created has resonated with someone so much that they have an emotional response. And we saw it live. Like, it was immediate. And I know this is not the first time this has happened to me, but in that venue, that immediately, it was amazing. And so we want to do that 100,000, 200,000, a million more times with not just Midnight Tiger. We want to do it with WTF Mama. We want to do it. I mean, I've seen it happen in WTF Mama, we want to do that with characters like Ebony and Lightning Strike, and any other characters that we're doing. The characters from Arise to Ruin, that short miniseries. We want that to explode the way we know that it can, and that's the thing. We need you guys actually, because we're gonna make it. We're gonna make this stuff. Just know that. But we need you guys to start talking about it more. That's what we need. And the beauty of making comics is our reach. The beauty of telling stories is our reach. Like, we can reach so many people. We were talking about, we're talking about representation. And I think I was talking to my son. And so we were talking about the things that we get conditioned as Black people to think about ourselves that isn't true. Like, when I was growing up in Compton, we would hear stuff like, "Oh, Black people don't go to the snow," or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. And so me and my son were talking, my son and my wife were talking, we were picking up our holiday meal. And I was like, "Do you know how strange it is, or how different you are? Like, you are a Black kid who snowboards." And he said, and you didn't, and I told him, "You didn't even think twice about it. You didn't think, well, we don't go to the snow as Black people. You jumped on that snowboard." My son is incredibly athletic. Anything athletic he wants to do, he can do. So he just, jumped on a snowboard and went to town and is great at it. And he said, "Do you know why I didn't think that? It's because of SSX Tricky and the character Moby. Moby is a Black character in SSX Tricky." And I said, there it is, right there. That is representation, because, you know, Moby showed you Black people snowboard and are badass at the snowboard. So, um, it's those kind of things that we want to do at Studio Skye-Tiger Comics, is representation and diversity, but it's so smooth that even though that was the result, it's just good story. It's just, it's things and lessons that you don't know is happening to you, and your growth is happening to you in a way that is beautiful and seamless and fun and entertaining as hell. And that is what we're trying to do with our work. Um, and honestly, that's what we're trying to do with the work that people hire us to do. Although, we have, I'm going to say, 2 or 3 big projects with other companies this year. I think we're going to lock it there, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to lock it there, because I have to actually disappoint somebody today and let them know that we just don't have the bandwidth to work on this other thing. Because if we're going to do, like, I'm looking to get 50 plus issues out of Midnight Tiger, and I got to start now, with Midnight Tiger Evo. It's a whole thing. And it's like, we're already plugged in. It's the same thing with, Ebony and the Hall of Dragons. Like, Jamal Anansi has created an entire world, that we have waiting, and it is amazing and it's beautiful. And we didn't even know that our worlds connected so well. Even though a lot of people are telling me not to say this, the truth of the matter is Midnight Tiger is an urban fantasy. It's less, the superhero part of it is, I'm messing with genres. I'll just leave it at that. I'm messing with genres, but it's an urban fantasy. And so is, Ebony and the Hall of Dragons, that whole series, Ebony and Sam. When you guys read that banter is just phenomenal. Like, it's been a long time since I read something that I really wanted to draw myself. So it's that good. The other part about it is, the same thing with Lightning Strike. Lightning Strike is from Compton. It is a story about Compton. And it is Marcus Newsom's, like, journey through the superhero lens of his life growing up. But he had all these different spins to it, which is really, really cool. So, it's that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure that the guys at Half Evil, they wouldn't, be mad if I said that they're one of the companies that we're working with. Shout out to Rylan and Avalone, David Avalone. So, and Rachel's awesome. So, but yeah. So anyway, those are the things that we're trying to do. That's the ideal and stuff like that. The other part of this is, and fans of mine from Marvel or DC or whatever, or my commission work, they'll be happy to know that sometime during this year, part of the business and building the business is also still doing some fan art type of stuff. I've never been a big fan art person. Like, if I'm working for Marvel, I'm working for Marvel and I'm doing those characters, and that used to be enough. But it's, I'm going to do some things that I like, not the trend. So that's the other part. Like, there's characters that I just love, and I think I'm allowing myself for it to be okay to do stuff like that when I have time, to do something fun about, with characters that I enjoy. Because, let's take the Wonder Man MCU thing that's popping off. I love Wonder Man. I never got a chance to actually draw Wonder Man from Marvel. And so I created my own black version of Wonder Man. But lo and behold, I waited too long, and then we got the black Wonder Man, got the black Simon Williams. So, so I'm just going to do stuff for fun. So you'll probably see more stuff in that vein for me. Not a lot, but just enough to say, hey, I'm still doing things. But mostly my priority is doing our own books, and making sure the brand and the name comes out. Shout out to my boy Joe Illich, who is doing something similar. And he is someone I see like right there beside me. Like this is the time. This is the time. If you have something that you want to do, if you have something you're passionate about, I just posted something about Hideaki Anno and being true to whatever your narrative is instead of trying to fit it into something that is, you know, destroying or eating away at the authenticity of your work. It's not worth it. You're going to walk away with that feeling empty. It's best to just do it in the best way you can, and if there are elements to it that are marketable, play them up, do it. I mean, there's things that are going on in Midnight Tiger that I can't wait to show you guys that I know are extremely marketable. Um, but I'm doing it because I love it. I'm doing those things because I think that they're cool. And it definitely resonates with me, obviously. So, which I know resonates with a bunch of people. I mean, come on, like I think I see myself as a perfect merger of the Blurred community, and I love comics, I love animation, I love anime, and I love manga. I love video games. Like, all the Capcom characters live rent free in my head all the time. So that's kind of the foundation that I build a lot of stuff on. And my inspirations are very obvious to people who know me. So anyway, uh, I think that might be it. If you guys have any type of questions you want to ask during this time, I would love to hear from you guys before I close it out. Because I figured I'd do 30 plus minutes, on this, but and it will be recorded so people can see it. But just to recap, we've done quite a few things in comics this year. We put Studio Skye-Tiger Comics and Studio Skye-Tiger Productions basically on the map this year. Some of our core artists got some long-term projects underway. We added essentially two imprints. New Dreams, that's Marcus D. Newsom, and Anansi Comics, that's Jamal Anansi. And so we kind of added those, which is the reason how we got Ebony and the Hall of Dragons and Lightning Strike. And then there's a core. There's Midnight Tiger Evo. So that's what we're doing. And like I said, we're doing quarterly anthologies, black and white, and tone. Love that stuff. And to touch on that a little bit, there's something about black and white comics, period, either manga or whatever it is, that just shows off the skill of the illustrator. And as an illustrator, I get goosebumps when I see some cool black and white or tone comics, and I know fans love that kind of stuff too. Color is wonderful. It really is. But to tell good stories, I don't think you need it, because there are stories like, just imagine the TMNT. TMNT started as a black and white comic and was doing quite well. Bone, black and white comic, doing quite well. And I mean, the list goes on. And that's just on the American side. I don't even want to go into the manga part because we already know what that is. And it's when you see characters that are being cosplayed at conventions and knowing that they started in black and white, the idea of the necessity of color, it's a moot point. So, because you're selling stories, that's what we do. We sell stories. We sell an experience, an emotional response, and the rest of it is just merch where you can take home and continue to be part of it and to show your love and all of those different things. So, but yeah, that's what we're doing, guys. And I want to wish everybody continued happy holidays. Please stay safe out there. Think first, think with your heart, and show some love. We saw some crazy stuff this year, and that's how things go. There's generations before us that saw even crazier things. So I just want you guys to know, not only are we going to get through this, whatever is going to come after, will be great, because usually, and the old saying, it's always darkest before the dawn. A lot of times that's very true. There's so much that comes from tragedy and craziness and all this kind of stuff that changes the game, because people bond, and they bond through pain, unfortunately. But what comes after is usually quite beautiful. You just have to keep each other in your hearts. It's all one race. It's a human race, truly. So, that's my 1.5 cents, y'all. Let me shut it down. I gotta go to the StreamYard, wherever it is, but this will be up on my YouTube, as it always is. It records. So I'll see you guys, and thank you for showing up.